BJ Franz K piloting the Phoenix Space Fighter. Yes, this is another iPad, iPhone video game review. Good evening, this is VJ Franz K, and I'm here to review another outer space shooting game. This one is called Phoenix. I've been waiting to review this for a while. It's from Fury Games, or Fiery, I don't know how you pronounce it. Anyway, let's get right into it, shall we? Basically, it's another one of these Danmaku, or bullet hell, bullet curtain, manic shooters, whatever you call them. Fly your nicely rendered airplane, or spacecraft, or whatever it is. Graphics are quite nice. What makes this different from other Danmaku, bullet hell, manic shooters, whatever you call them, is the fact that this game makes the claim, and seems to back it up, that the scenarios are randomly generated each time. You know, it sort of is a rearrangement of different, small and mini boss and large boss enemies that it sort of rearranges from a set of parts. Now, I really like this game, and it's very well programmed. The graphics are very good. It feels like one of these shooter games should, and it's very hard to explain how a game like this succeeds or fails, but it's just in the feel of the play, you know. Can you totally immerse yourself in this world for a little while? It is rather zen, and perhaps that is why the genre has sort of had its greatest popularity and evolution in Japan. If only we could solve world conflicts by playing video games instead of having real wars, I think that would be a vast improvement. Now, one major thing that is missing that they could easily correct, and I hope they will, is the fact that these sort of mega defensive weapons that are a staple of the Danmaku bullet hell genre, you notice that this alien is throwing out waves and waves and waves of lasers at me, and just by sort of navigating between them am I able to keep my ship alive. But sometimes you get stuck, and luckily, when you blast the bosses, as in games like Dodonpachi, their shots disappear. So if you can get in the last few shots, you'll be okay. But usually, in this style of game, there is a sort of it's an ultimate weapon. It's a sort of offensive-defensive bomb that you can fire off when everything gets too thick to possibly comprehend, and you just need a breather for a couple of seconds. And in this game, you can't fire those off spontaneously when you need them. You can only do that when you gain a certain power-up that appears not all that often. So, I think it might have just appeared now. But, you know, the point is that you need it like a lifeline or something to help you out of a tight spot, and if you can't call it up at a button press, like most games of this genre, then it is not really that useful. See, I could have used it right there. I hate to say, it does sort of seem like a beta of a much more complicated game at this point. And I don't know, they'll probably upgrade it and add more stuff, but you know, the randomly generated bosses and stuff, well, they do tend to be pretty interesting. You know, there aren't a large enough assortment of parts yet that the randomly generated items are made from, if you get my drift. It's like they have a factory that is constantly turning out these battle cruisers of various types, and, you know, there's various stock weapons that they are firing against you. They need to add some more stuff, and at least make them different colors. Because shooting at red stuff, even though it does have very nice graphics, you can see it is sort of 70s anime inspired. Back when everything was bright colors. There's no such thing as camouflage in that world. Everything shines and is bright, red, blue, and yellow. Occasionally some green, you know, all sorts of laser beams. But lasers do not travel at light speed. No, you can see the flow of lasers as they move towards you, and, well, you know, it just wouldn't be fair if lasers moved as fast as actual light, because then you couldn't dodge it. We are flying through interstellar space yet again on a mission of mercy or peace or war or something. I'm not really sure, but we've got to defend the Earth from lasers coming at us from all sides. Yes, it is another journey through Danmaku. Even a little bit of Flash Gordon in this design, I see. So, design's quite nice, and at least everything is good and color-coded. Your bullets do tend to be blue and purple, while the enemies tend to be red. So that gives you a good idea what you're supposed to dodge. The background is pretty muted. You know, that is good design, because it allows you to, you know, experience a sort of sci-fi setting without being too distracted from the real action. There's an automated difficulty level, which is represented by stars in the upper corner of the screen there, you'll notice. Now my stars are going down because I'm talking to you instead of actually piloting my spaceship. He was distracted from his critical mission by communications. Anyway, but the stars increase the better you do. So it's sort of like the game tells if you're a novice or advanced. And, you know, you can get a more exciting and personalized gaming experience that way. Now, another thing I must mention, though, is I think there needs to be more stars on the thing. Because I know I've been playing these pretty long, but I was able to get up to 5-star difficulty in about 1 minute, and that is the maximum difficulty level. So, you know, there are some really, really detailed players of these games out there on the internet, I know. The other thing is that the idea of a leaderboard is sort of dependent on the fact that we are all playing against the same challenge. You know, in most games of this style, there is a scripted order to the way that the things fly out. Now, it's a very complicated scripted order, so you still will never go through it exactly. But because this is randomized, high scores aren't... Do you see what I'm saying? High scores are not quite as comparable, because each randomly generated game is different. So a fellow who got a very high score might be very good, or he also might be very lucky. Hopefully through updates they can, you know, realize their lofty concept. And I would like to see some more differentiation in scenery as you fly along. You know, it's sort of like I'm a great fan of randomness, but I'm also a great fan of order. And I think that many of the most interesting things are made by the right combination of randomness with order. You know, a sort of a guided randomness. So perhaps they can impose just a little bit more structure on an otherwise randomized and evolving sort of gamescape or something like that. So if you are a game developer, do send me promotional copies or even beta testing copies, and I'll see all of you on the worldwide leaderboard. Anyway, this is VJ Franz K flying off into outer space again, but I'll be back very soon with more Danmaku, other types of games, and synthesizers, of course, music videos. Hey, I've got a new techno album coming out in a couple of months. Victory!